Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're all well. So this has been a particularly eventful week, as you all probably know. So I'm excited to be here to talk about some of the things that have been claimed this week, and also to clear up some of the questions that people might have. So let's jump into it. A claim has been levied this week that we were negligent with your KYC data, that KYC data was leaked, that your KYC data is in the hands of other people. That is a flat out lie. There is nothing to suggest that there's any truth to this claim at all. And from our internal analysis and assessments, again, this is a complete lie. And I'm going to get into the specifics of this. So let's get started. It should be noted that this is something that has been discussed in the past. This is nothing new. This is something that has been brought up from the past. And I'm going to get into some of the details of this. So in May, we hired a security consultant to look through our systems and identify vulnerabilities and weaknesses like any responsible company would. We also, around that time, created the bug bounty program, right? And the analysis that was presented from Aaron was inside of the bug bounty program that we created. So let's be clear. There were people testing our systems and identifying vulnerabilities with our systems because we asked them to do so, because we are responsible about making sure that your data is kept safe and secure, right? So this is a normal standard industry practice, which we were following. And what should also be made clear is that Aaron, whose report it is that's being discussed here, himself this week said that we acted immediately upon any potential vulnerabilities that he identified. So I want to walk you through the kind of steps that we took as Sparkster with regards to how we protected your data. So the first thing is that we focused our efforts on the areas that we felt had the greatest probability of attack, right? So we were presented with a set of vulnerabilities. We focused our efforts on hardening, or potential vulnerabilities, hardening the aspects of our system that are particularly have a history of being attacked. So an example of this, the website of projects tends to be attacked and tends to be hijacked, and ETH addresses replaced during the crowd sale. This is something that was brought to our attention. It's an area where we focused our efforts on hardening the website so that it wasn't vulnerable to being hijacked, right? So this is why we were not hijacked, because it was something that we actively and proactively participated in. I apologize. I don't know if you can hear this, but there's a bit of a celebration outside. So other things that we worked on, your KYC information, your pictures and so forth were not hosted by us. They were hosted on Amazon's infrastructure, again, to keep them safe. We limited how that data could be accessed. For example, firewalls only ensure that data could be accessed from our own servers and could not be accessed by anybody else. We encrypted the data pipeline between our servers and Amazon servers. We hardened and protected against SQL injections and system overrides essentially across both the Earn platform and the website. We protected our login pages from brute force attacks. We were ensuring that we're validating sessions to ensure that there weren't any lingering sessions that were picked up by anybody. We hardened the header that was being used for example, in our content security policy, CSP. We were protecting our storage systems from denial of service attacks and from being flooded. We implemented Cloudflare to ensure that our systems, again, are protected from denial of service attacks. We protected our systems from open redirects, and the list goes on and on and on and on and on of the sorts of things that we did to harden our systems to ensure that our data was kept secure and safe. Your data was kept secure and safe. But the key thing is that, we had a multi-tiered approach to this. We had external consultants, we had an internal security team, and we created a bug bounty program, inside of which Aaron, produced a report on the vulnerabilities he identified. It should be noted that, different security experts have expertise in different areas. And the security expert that identified, for example, protecting our database from data being stolen and whatever else, didn't pick up on the specific issue that Aaron identified, right? And this is exactly why we have a bug bounty program. And so what Aaron was doing was not acting independently, but was operating inside of a structure we created, because we were acting responsibly about how your data should be protected. So yeah, I don't know if some of you know, that there's no such thing as a secure system. Today alone, a report was released that Marriott was hacked and 500 million customer records were accessed or potentially accessed. So the only sorts of systems that are safe are the systems that are offline. And guess where your KYC data has been since we ended the KYC process? It's been offline. We have not had any KYC data online since the KYC data wasn't needed, because the most secure way to manage and maintain data is to keep it offline, and that's what we've done. Today, it sits on a DVD inside of a vault. So that's where we stand. Now, like I said, this is FUD, it is lies, and this is an attempt at a specific YouTuber to get famous at our expense. There are no free lunches here. I have forwarded this on to our attorneys, and we're considering taking legal action against this particular YouTuber. It should be noted that if you're going to hit us, we're going to hit you back 10 times as hard, because that is our responsibility as far as I'm concerned. This unsubstantiated defamation of our company is not something that we'll tolerate. So one final thing I want to read on this particular matter. I want to read the comments of the person who created the report. His name is Aaron Crypto. He came into our group and said the following, and you can find these comments in our group directly from him. He said, "Morning, guys. I see someone got hold of my report. These issues were raised and fixed immediately by the Sparkster team and Saj. None of the issues that I raised were exploited. They were merely how-tos. No KYC data was stolen. We know no KYC data was stolen because we have logs that tell us who accessed what data and where from. So we know for a fact that KYC data has not been stolen. So I hope this puts this matter to rest. And I will take questions, and we'll take the questions from our Telegram group." Yes, the data is safe. The data was safe. We did everything we could have and acted responsibly with your data. And today your data sits offline on a DVD in a vault, which is where it will remain for the next 7 years, and then it will be destroyed. We are required to maintain this data for 7 years in case we're audited. Now, I understand that there was I'm not seeing very many questions right now. I understand that there were also questions and concerns about our approach to whether or not we will hold a vote and why we changed our decision on the vote, and also with regards to the OTC. So let's speak about this and hopefully clear the air in this matter too. So there was a reason why the vote was not held. The premise of the vote, when I announced it, was that markets have returned to a semblance of stability. And therefore, I still didn't believe and don't believe today that it is the right time to unlock our tokens. But I was, we were giving the community a right to be able to exercise their opinion in this matter because we'd reached a stability, right? We also said that we would, but you got to realize that at the end of the day, we have to act on a situational basis, right? And yeah, so the reality is there is no stability. From the point of time when we announced that we would have a vote, stability completely evaporated. The market fell through the floor, right? So therefore, the premise was invalidated. Therefore, we're not holding the vote. With regards to taking away the OTC, so we made, we discussed having an OTC when we brought this to the community. There were several long-term holders who decided that, or not decided, but several long-term holders who raised objections with regards to the OTC. And therefore, we decided to cancel the OTC. I don't know that there's much more to say about this. Is there a specific date for the mainnet launch in December? Yes, it will be at the very end of December, December 31st. However, next week, so next week we'll be releasing code for the mainnet. This will be open sourced, and you'll be able to look at the code and whatever. So you'll be able to see what we've done and how we've done it through the code that's being open sourced next week. And we'll be spending the rest of the month bringing up the environment, essentially. Are there any other questions I can answer today? Is there a minimum requirement for devices participating in the mainnet? Thank you for the question, Crypto Penguin. Well, certainly to run a master node, you'll need a computer that can that essentially has Intel SGX. Intel SGX is on processors. I can't remember the name. I think it's Skylake is the series that came out late 2015. So you will need an Intel processor from a computer with an Intel processor from late 2015 to run a master node. There is no specific requirements today to run a storage node, to run a compute node, or to run a verification node. However, in the future, we're considering introducing a new type of node that will use ARM's processors, and specifically, you'll have to have an ARM processor that supports trust zone. And trust zone is kind of similar. I mean, they're similar in concept, I would say, to what SGX is, which is a secure enclave. It means that there's secure memory and secure thread, and the threads inside of the processor is secure in a way that that memory can only be accessed by those threads, and therefore we have execution security and security of essentially what's going on, and data security too. So this is critical for the master nodes, and there will be certain applications that we're implementing, certain use cases that we're implementing, where this becomes important at the node level. But to begin with, it's not required, for example, for verification, storage, and compute nodes. You can't post links in our group, so you'll have to ask the question without a link. Will there be an explorer like Etherscan where you can see live TPS? Yes, there will be. There's people building that right now. Any other questions from the community? One thing I do want to say is that, I want to reiterate to you guys the importance of security of information online. It's very important that you guys don't use the same passwords between systems, because, like I said, the only secure systems are the systems that are offline. Marriott was hacked today. Facebook has been hacked. I don't know if there's a company out there that hasn't been hacked. So it's important that that you guys don't share passwords between websites. And there are several tools online that can help you keep track of the different passwords that you use for different websites. They can even generate passwords for you. And I definitely recommend using those. I also recommend, I also recommend, we've talked about this before, how we as a community are dependent on one another, and it's important that we come together and support one another. Aaron Crypto just jumped in, and he's saying he's just seen the AMA and gives us a thumbs up. Thank you, Aaron. And I want to actually say something about Aaron and people like Aaron in the crypto community. The real hero in this story is people like Aaron. They're the people that step forward and contribute their knowledge and their time and their expertise to protecting you, protecting us and protecting you. I mean, protecting projects like us and protecting, people that contribute to these projects. Without people like Aaron, and Aaron isn't alone. There are many people like Aaron, but Aaron was highlighted this week, and probably became a little bit famous as a result of this. It's important that we acknowledge these sorts of people for what they do. They keep this industry, they keep this community, they keep people safe because of what they do. So from me to Aaron and everybody else that participated in our bug bounty program, I want to thank you for what you've done. And I'm certain that the community also wants to thank you. My pleasure. I think, as I've always mentioned, that we have a responsibility to be transparent, and I think that we've tried to be as transparent as we possibly can. Any other questions I can take this week? Thank you, Cryptophomos. Sometimes there's a lot of people that like to FUD about Sparkster. It's because of these FUDders that the conversation about Sparkster hasn't, gone away. People continually are talking about our project because of the FUDders. So to some degree, I mean, the egregious FUD that data has been leaked, that there's no room for egregious FUD. But for other FUDders that really have no, you can see have no substance anything they're saying, and can't, claim to have any fake substance. They keep our project alive and keep it in people's memories and people's minds, and make people aware of our project. Not that we should encourage FUD, but there's two sides to every coin. I see a few people typing, so I'll wait for their. So I heard someone ask about why the two pieces of the puzzle and the Sparkster logo don't fit together. Between the two pieces in the Sparkster puzzle is a lightning bolt, and the lightning bolt symbolizes ideas. So the logo is kind of symbolizing that ideas are brought to life through, blocks that are pieced together like a puzzle. So it's on purpose. Thank you, Crypto Penguin. We have no intention of stopping the AMAs. Did Sparkster apply for Gold Label project with Binance? No, to be honest with you, I don't know what Gold Label project is. So maybe you can fill me in. Maybe that's something we can do. All right, I don't see any further questions. So let's wrap up for today. I'll be happy to take any questions that there are in Telegram. I want to thank everyone for your time. Thank you for being here. And thank you for hearing our position out. Be safe out there. Don't believe everything you hear, because most often it's not true. And again, I want to thank, Aaron and people like Aaron for what you do. Like I said, these are the real heroes of this story. Thank you.